Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Last month, I announced that Owlcat had become a publisher and was publishing 2 games. One of them is Rue Valey, and Owlcat was kind enough to provide me with the early access key for a pre-alpha build of the game. Unfortunately, with all the craziness that happened to me over the past couple of weeks, I'm a little bit late getting out this content, but I did finally get a chance to check out the game, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with all of you. Please keep in mind, once again, this is pre-alpha, so a ton of things about the game might change before it actually releases. Rue Valey puts you in the shoes of Eugene Harrow, and when you start the game, he's just ending a therapy session for a condition that is not specified. It also quickly becomes clear that the hotel where he's located at has been isolated from the rest of society, and he's committed a crime that the game does not specify during my playthrough. Now, if you've seen the trailer or you're looking at the gameplay right now, obviously this game's style has strong callbacks to Disco Elysium. Me personally, I love that game, and so that's a good thing. But there's also a lot of ways in which Rue Valey distinguishes itself from Disco Elysium, and it really does come off as its own separate game. Right off the bat, Rue Valey does a couple of interesting things. When you spin up a new game, you'll be given a screen where you can place some character points. Now, unlike most games where leveling up or placing character points makes your character better and does positive things for them, in this game, character points are used to lean your character more into personality types that would most of the time be considered undesirable. So when your marker sits at the middle, you're gonna have personality traits like being resolute or being mindful. But if you put points towards the left or the right, you're gonna get traits like being arrogant or reckless. And if you lean really far into a particular direction, you'll get 2 traits at the same time, which again would be considered negative, but doesn't necessarily work that way in the game world. The other thing that struck me right from the beginning is this game has voice acting. I know. When I saw the initial information about these games and that trailer, I just knew, all right, indie title, we're probably going to have to read everything. But no, that's actually not the case. All the dialogue that is given by characters is voiced. And sometimes Eugene Harrow has thoughts that are communicated to the player. That is voice acted as well. The parts that are not voice acted is supplementary information, like describing what you see or describing what's around you. But there was already quite a bit of voice acting in the game. I was pleasantly surprised and definitely impressed by that. Another aspect of this game that's really interesting is its visual style. Of course, again, it's very similar to Disco Elysium, but it also looks very updated as well, with much more animated environments, and they use an interesting shimmer effect on characters to create this sense of movement and to make it more interesting to look at. I do think the shivering lines should probably be toned down a little bit, but I also think the effect is very cool, and I'm glad to see it. And just in general, their use of color and the way it's mixed in the game, I think consistently made it interesting to see things on the screen, and that's so important in a narrative game like this, so I've definitely enjoyed it. From what I saw, the writing was very strong as well. Now, once your therapy session ends at the beginning of the game, you'll start walking around, interacting with objects, talking with people, and it'll trigger certain memories or thoughts for you. And then you're going to go lay down, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of take stock of some of the thoughts that you have. Very quickly after that, you reach 47 minutes in the game world. And every day at 47 minutes, the world ends in a hail of fire. And then you start back at the beginning of your day. Now, the interesting thing about this is, even though you know the day has started over again, your character, Eugene Harrow, doesn't necessarily realize that. So you have to have enough willpower in order to force yourself to remember certain things and then piece together what's been happening in the game world so that you can then cause different things to happen on repeated playthroughs. At least that's the way it works right now. That could be awesome, and obviously it could also be very, very annoying, right? Because potentially you could be playing a narrative game where you have more information than the main character, and there might be a part of you that feels like your main character should realize what's going on. So there's a possibility for some level of disconnect, right? But at the same time, from a gameplay standpoint, it could make things more engrossing for the character. Basically trying to figure out, how do I shake Eugene out of this fog, right? And that kind of ties into one of the things that I really, really like about this game, at least from what I played. And one of the things that I really liked about Disco Elysium, you feel like you're playing as someone whose mind is shattered. And I think that's a hard thing to effectively convey in a game. You'll see games all the time where they say a character is crazy, but you as the player don't really feel like this character is crazy, right? And so it kind of weakens the effect. Eugene, in a completely different way from what you experience in Disco Elysium, Eugene feels like someone who has basically lost his mind and is trying to pull back the pieces together, figure out what's happened to him, figure out who, kind of on some level, who he is, and in the process, figure out how to break out of that time loop. That's a fascinating premise. I like the idea of it, but again, this is going to be all about execution, because I can see it going either way, where players feel like it's a great narrative experience and they love it, or they feel like, you know what, you could have made some changes that would have allowed us to enjoy this significantly more. Bottom line, I'm interested. I'm definitely going to be checking this game out and following it. I'm looking forward to it releasing. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting story to go through. You all already know I love narrative games. I love games that focus on story and dialogue and character development. That definitely feels like what they're going to be focused on here. So I'm really, really looking forward to being able to check out the full version. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Was this video interesting to you? Did you enjoy the gameplay? Do you plan to check out Rue Valey when it comes out? Looking forward to hearing your feedback, and I hope you enjoy this video. Take care.